Welcome back, everyone, to Jupiter's Crock here on the Outpost Unknown YouTube channel. My name is Matthew. Joining me tonight, once again, down there in Memphis, is Ronan.
I need a nap.
God, and Sleepy Bear over here, Plodicus.
Hey, look, I bring the most to this show, so you gotta cut me some slack.
I cut
I
you
do
no
the
slack.
heavy lifting.
I cut you no slack.
I
None.
do the heavy lifting, god damn
Whatever.
it.
So last week we ended with Spartacus releasing Alithia, letting her go. She's gonna she's gonna look into her baby's eyes and she's gonna see see Spartacus from now on. Now we're getting to episode 9. We're almost done with the season. Only 2 left. Episode 9, Monsters. This one's a banger. Spoiler. Steve, take it away.
Yeah, this might be my favorite episode of the season. So it starts with Romans invading the temple. Lugo and Nasir are on guard, and Lugo goes to sleep. Meanwhile, Nasir turns around and looks inward towards the camp. And then a couple of Romans pull them down, and the Romans invade. The Romans pick a fight.
They also got Axe Guy out in the woods.
Yes, Axe Guy out in the woods. Was that
Pissing.
Donar or Nemetes? I don't know. The guy that had one good line in episode 1. The Romans invade, they start whooping ass, and then when Saxa goes to grab a sword, one of the Romans pulls their masks off, and it was actually Spartacus, Crixus, and Gannicus the entire time. They dressed up like Romans and invaded
Fire alarm.
to basically call out how unprepared everyone, all of the gladiators are. And so Onomaeus is like, you know what, fuck this, this won't happen again. We will be ready next time. And so Spartacus is like, oh yeah, prove it. And so they all get up. Spartacus tells them to eat breakfast, and then it's time for some fucking training. And we'll see how that goes later. Back in the Body Goddess's Ludus, we see Glaber trying to put the moves on Sepia, but Sepia now knows. I think it happened last episode, and we forgot.
That plot thread kind of got.
Xena goes to Sepia, and so this is like last episode. Xena went to Sepia and was like, you know what? Glaber's a piece of shit, and let me prove that to you. Here's your brother's weird snake bracelet. Asher had it, and the only reason Asher had it is because Glaber told him to kill Sepius. And Sepia now believes Xena, and so here we are back in the episode we're actually talking about. Sepia is distraught, and Glaber comes in, tries to put the moves on her, but she doesn't know what to do. She doesn't yet have a plan. But she can't just, she can't leave. She wants to get revenge on Glaber somehow. So what's she to do in the meantime? Does she fuck him? Does she not fuck him? She doesn't get the opportunity because in comes Alithia, who collapses.
Having a bad hair day.
Yeah, having a bad everything day. So Alithia collapses and she gets put to bed, and Glaber goes to talk to her after she kind of recovers. And
Not in her bed chambers, though. That's a big point.
Not in her bed chambers, because currently Sepia is taking over those, and Alithia, weird jealousy was something going on with Mira last episode. In this episode, it's Alithia, because Alithia is upset that Gaius Glaber is fucking Sepia. Meanwhile, Alithia was, planning on using a gladiator as her personal bang buddy last season. So, a little bit of hypocrisy there.
She's with child now.
Yeah, well, not just that. She was also fully planning to completely and utterly fuck Glaber over and just have the marriage dissolved and everything. This is what happened was when two toxic people start doing toxic shit to each other. You would have never. This kind of thing would have never happened between Badiatus and Lucretia.
Yeah,
that's true.
Alithia, Glaber first goes to her. It's like, oh, it's good that you're safe, but quickly, like, he begins like interrogating her, like getting all of the information that he can out of her, and Alithia, tells him what she can, but ultimately she basically kind of like throws herself on his mercy, like, like I know I fucked up. Please, please, please take me back.
Pretty
And
please.
Glaber says, no.
No.
We're done. There's nothing left between us, and you fucking ruined it. I'm with the 9-year-old Sepia now. And so Alithia is...
She's 12, Steve. Thank
Steve,
you.
why do
No.
you keep making her younger and younger every single time you give her age?
I feel like 9 is the lowest I've gone with her age in this show. I don't think I've called her a 7-year-old.
That's what I'm saying. You keep going lower and lower, is what
No,
I'm saying.
I know. It was 9. I left it at 9.
No, you said, I think once you said like 15, then you went to 12, now she's at 9. She just keeps
Well,
getting
9,
younger and
9
younger.
is the lowest I've gone.
Okay.
Which is fair, right? Like, she looks like she's 9 years old, right?
She looks pretty young. Yeah, she
Yeah,
looks pretty
yeah,
young.
She looks uncomfortably young.
Let me see how old this girl was when she actually filmed this, because she looks like a teenager.
It's like, when the writers were coming up with the storyline, like, initially she was going to be a little kid, but they were like, no. And so they just hired, like, a 15-year-old for it, because, that's totally makes sense in the long run. So, like, that's totally what happened. But back me up here. Everyone else can see that, right?
I'm not backing you up on anything related.
I'm staying out of the age stuff here.
Anyways, Alithia and Glaber are done. Like, Glaber has confirmed, like, I feel nothing for you anymore, and Alithia is distraught because she has nothing. Like, her plans with Vernius fell through, her dad's dead, her husband that she is forced to stay with does not love her anymore. Back at the gladiator camp...
She was 21, by the way, so we're fine. She was 21 years old when she filmed
Okay,
this.
good. She does not
Very
look
important to know.
Anyways, back at the gladiator camp. What am I doing betting this hand? Whatever. Don't care. Not paying attention. Like, tensions are running high. Like, everyone is at everyone's throats. Spartacus is, like, failing to calm them down. He makes some sort of speech like, we can't...
Another hero speech.
A lot of
Eventually the
speeches.
Romans are going to come, and we can't beat them if we're fighting each other. But it's Spartacus. Spartacus ends up with a plan. He tells Agron, hey, gather two gladiators whose names we've never heard before. I want you to run and Jeez, this guy's fucking all in scared me when I was trying to concentrate on Spartacus. Spartacus says, hey, Agron, I would take these two nameless people and go run an errand for me. I think at this point we see Xena run into Alithia, because for whatever reason it seems like no one told Xena that Alithia was back, because when Xena spots Alithia, she's like, oh shit, yeah, you're here, holy crap. And they talk, and Sepia runs in, and she's very awkward right now. She doesn't know what to do, and she kind of just walks away. And so Xena and Alithia have a chat, like, what's going on with Sepia? And so Xena reveals her plan that Xena knows that Glaber killed Sepius, and Xena has told Sepia that. And so Xena is going to worm-tongue Sepia into killing Glaber. And Alithia, at this point, we're going to find out differently later, Alithia seems very, very on board with this. We also see Glaber and Asher, like, looking at a map. They're trying to figure out where Spartacus's camp is, using the very limited information that Alithia could give them, which was just like a rough distance that she had to travel to.
She was like, I was in a stone building with wood pillars, and there was some possibly Greek writing on it.
Yes, so she gave them like some vague distance info, what kind of building, what kind of supports the building had, and there was Greek lettering. And they're trying to figure it out, but they can't really narrow it down. And then in walks the Egyptian, just holding fucking Lucius's head. And apparently, the Egyptian carried the head around Capua. It's like, hey, do you know this head? Hey, you, come here. Do you know this head? And so he found someone that apparently knew who Lucius was, knew where Lucius was staying, and basically finds out that Lucius either owned or was staying in a temple in the shadow of Vesuvius that was built by Greeks.
I
And so
wish we
now
would have got
Asher
to see that scene of the Egyptian
Yeah.
walking around, like,
Just,
forcing
hey,
people
you know
to look
this
at
guy?
the severed head.
You know this guy? You seen this head before? So thanks to the Egyptian and Ilithia, they now know where Spartacus is. And so Glaber's like, we are going to attack immediately. And Asher tries to tell him, hey, let's cool our jets a little bit. Let's not rush into this. But Glaber's like, no, we're fucking doing this now. And I would have you come with me. Like, Glaber is actually showing some respect to Asher. Like, I will have you with me in a position of honor while we do this. And Asher's like, I feel that's great, thank you. I feel so foolish, like asking for more. And Glaber's like, yo, just fucking get to the point. I know you're pretending to be like stupid and foolish now. You're not any of those things. Get to the fucking point. Tell me what you want. And we find out later that what Asher wants is 1, his freedom, 2, the Ludus, and 3, Xena. And
That's a lot of wants.
Yeah, that's a whole lot.
Yeah, but Glaber's going to give it to him, apparently.
No, he's
Glaber-
earned it.
Yeah, yes.
100%. He pulls
No,
away.
I will point out because I won't remember this in next week when we have to record the final episode because Ronan couldn't get his shit together. You guys, one of you mentioned, I don't know if it was last season or like Blood and Sand, or if it was earlier this season in Vengeance, but one of you guys said, "Oh, wouldn't it be cool for like a House of Asher show?" That would be awesome.
That was me. I believe they joke about it or something like that
They
in one of
do.
the commentary tracks.
Yes,
But they
yeah.
briefly talked about the idea of doing like a what if House of Asher show.
Yeah,
but
they
it never
do
got
that in
much
the last-
further than talk.
In the
Well,
last
if-
episode of this
if they
season, they actually
ever-
mentioned that.
If they ever do, like, because for the last year, we've been hearing that they're gonna bring something Spartacus related back. I would take an Elseworlds House of Asher, 100%.
Yeah.
Because Asher is an amazing villain. We hate him, but we want to see what he's
That's what
gonna
you're
do.
supposed to do.
That's what I wanted to. I kind of wanted to ask you guys is obviously right now at the time we're recording this, there's a writer's strike and there is an actor's strike. So pretty much everything in terms of Hollywood stuff is on hold. So I'm sure whatever Spartacus show they're developing is also on hold while all this sorts itself out. But I'm curious, I wonder, because when I listened to the audio commentary of Wrath of the Gods, which is the final episode of the season today, Stephen DeKnight, who is the creator, was like, no, this is a pretty serious discussion we were having at one point of doing a spin-off like a House of Asher and just doing if this would have happened, what this is, what history could have been like or something like that. Do you think, because we don't really know any story of what this new Spartacus-esque show is going to be about, do you think that they might be going kind of like an Elseworlds, like we might get kind of like a rebooted Spartacus with the same sorts of characters and stuff, but they sort of take it in some weird direction, like a Quentin Tarantino alternative history sort of thing?
I would watch that. I don't know if that's. I feel like it's more likely that spoilers for the very end of the show. I feel like it's more likely that this new show, if it ever happens, is just going to start with someone going and getting Gannicus down from the cross. But I would certainly watch the House of Asher if they made that.
Yeah, get Nick Terabay back. He's so good.
Yeah, great fucking villain.
Captain
Great villain.
Boomerang.
I would assume that it's either got to be what Steve said, like, okay, well, we're gonna, we're gonna take, we're gonna, save Gannicus from the cross, or like it's got to be some kind of alternative history, because it's not a spoiler to say that, like, the Spartacus Revolution failed, because it's just basic history. So, like, it can't be okay, this is what Spartacus and his pals did after the revolution, because it's like, no, there aren't any left. So it's like, it's got to be, it's either okay, well, we're going to fetch Gannicus off the cross, or B, it's got to be a completely side history tangent. Yeah, it's got to be one of those two things.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk more
I don't
about
know.
that into the next season, but because they had
So
talked about a
anyways,
Julius Caesar spinoff at one point. They had
right, I
planned
had heard that as
too.
well. I mean, I would watch either of those things. I would be
Yeah.
perfectly happy with either. Anyways, back to the actual show. Glaber is like, fuck yeah, I know where Spartacus is. I'm gonna go get him. Oh shit, what's Verenius doing here? Verenius shows up and basically tells Glaber, hey, Rome, the Senate wants you to come back, and you don't have to. The Senate doesn't control you, but it'd be real fucking stupid for you to not heed what they say. I am going to go get Spartacus.
I
and
want
also,
the glory.
Yep. And also, rumor has gotten out that you let Alithia get kidnapped, and so that's no one thinks that you can protect shit because you couldn't protect your wife. And then suddenly Alithia walks out. He's like, "What do you mean I was kidnapped? I wasn't kidnapped. I'm right here." And
Silly goose, I'm right here.
Verenius is taken aback because he thought Alithia was gone. He has no idea what actually happened. There's even like a scene in this episode or the previous one. It's probably the previous one where Glaber had Asher go out and like hide all evidence that Alithia was ever kidnapped in the first place. And so all Verenius has is someone's word. We'll find out who that someone is very soon here. Someone told Verenius that Alithia was missing, and so Verenius is like taken aback when Alithia shows up. And
Kind of
Verenius
makes
is
him
like,
look stupid, one could say.
yeah. Verenius is just gonna walk away and say, "Hey, you need to go back to Rome. The Senate's recalling you. I'm gonna go get Spartacus, but hi, Alithia, good seeing you." And so Verenius goes to leave, and
He
out
still
comes
gives her the
Sepia.
eyes. He gives her the eyes.
Yeah,
in
he
that
doesn't.
scene.
He also, it seems like, because she still has a bruise on her face from the
Yeah.
kidnapping. And so he kind of asked her about it. She's like, "Oh, I just, I slipped and fell. I walked in, I fell down some steps." And I can't
I fell
tell
into
if, like,
Gannicus's fist.
I can't
Really,
tell,
it
like,
was my fault. I should have watched where I was going. I shouldn't have tripped there.
Like, does Verenius, it looks like maybe Verenius thinks that they're pulling some shit, but then when he goes to talk to Sepia, who we find out is the one that that contacted Verenius, it kind of seems like he no longer believes that she was kidnapped at all. So it's kind of tough to read Verenius in the scene. But Verenius and Sepia have a chat, and Verenius is pissed at her because, like, I look like an idiot because I came all the way here based on your letter saying that Alithia was missing. You also told me that that Glaber killed your brother. Do you have any proof of that? She's like, "Oh yeah, I have a bracelet." And Bracelet's like, "A fucking bracelet? That's all you have? Like, are you fucking stupid? I can't accuse Glaber of murdering another Roman because of a fucking bracelet. I'm fucking done with you. I'm going to get Spartacus." And so Sepia has now been rejected by the first person she was interested in, and now she's left with just Glaber, who she's not interested in at all anymore. So Sepia is in a dark place. So it's a good time for old worm tongue Xena to go and start gently brushing her hair while
Always
handing
scheming.
her a dagger. So she gives Sepia a
Whispering
dagger,
sweet nothings.
and Seppi is like, I can't kill him. Like, what the fuck? And Xena's like, well, you must. Like, if you want any chance of vengeance, you got to take it to yourself. So here's a dagger. And so we're gonna find out later what Seppi is going to do with his dagger. And then Spartacus is still hanging out at the temple, and things are not going well. People are still at each other's throats, and then someone spots a wagon out on the trail, and it's led by Agron. and Agron has just brought back a bunch of booze. And so it's
Yes.
basically a gladiator party. And
Gotta let off some
Spartacus,
steam. Gotta let off some steam.
Spartacus is smiling, and Gannicus and Crixus are talking. And Gannicus is like, I've never seen Spartacus happy. And Crixus is like, Spartacus isn't happy. He's doing this on purpose. He has a fucking plan. And then Spartacus starts to make a speech, and Crixus is like, ah, shit, here we go.
Yeah.
I fucking told you. So Spartacus says, basically, you know, again, we can't fight the Romans if we're too busy, you know, being at each other's throats. Let's have sport. Let's have games. Let's basically, you know, just get all of our issues out, and maybe, you know, fighting alongside each other here. Maybe we'll get back to being on the same team.
Oh, cocksucker. Cocksucker.
Man.
Cocksucker.
Oh, painful. Glad I wasn't in that. Anyways, so they have games, and so Spartacus is going to have various gladiators and freed slaves that have issues with one another fight it out. And so early on, Lugo and Nasir were the two failed guards, and so Spartacus doesn't have them fight each
can
other.
I
He has
interject
them
something
team
here?
up against two other people.
Yeah. Can I? Who
they
else
end
here
up
is
losing,
fucking
but
just
later
like
on,
anytime this year does it? His
let me back up a
stupid
second.
little kitty cat hiss when he's
Lugo,
running in to like
before the
fight
fight,
people.
Lugo tells Nasir,
Wait a minute, wait a minute,
"We
wait a
will
minute.
win."
Wait a minute, pause. So Steve has been talking the entire, and Ronan's been talking over the top. Steve, can you not hear Ronan?
No, I just got a message saying that there was a network error on Ronan's
I
part.
just
Okay.
saw one on my. I just saw one on my end too. It said Steve's network connection.
Ronan's like, can I interject here? And just starts talking, and you're still telling the whole plot.
Wait, so Ronan said, "Can I interject?" and didn't wait for me to answer, and then started talking anyway. That's very rude.
Yes.
Anyways,
Ronan.
Matt, you know what's going on.
Ronan, what is your interjection?
But that mysterious little stupid kitty cat hiss is just the worst. It is just the worst. Fuck him and his kitty cat. Yeah, good. We're on the same page.
Oh God. Okay. So that's it. That's all you wanted to say?
Yes, fuck that kitty cat hiss.
Okay.
No, I was going to say that too, because I thought that was. I laugh every time this pre-fight scene with Nasir and Lugo is awesome, because Lugo says, "Stay out of my way and we win. Stay out of my way, little man." And Nasir says, "Don't call me that." And he runs out to like tackle this guy, but then Lugo will not be one up, and so Lugo, who is this giant, incredible Hulk-looking motherfucker, Lugo also runs out. But they decide, like, they show him running out in slow motion, and as he's running, people are splashing him with wine.
It's a
And
cool
it's
shot.
fucking awesome. I laugh at this ridiculous Lugo and Nasir scene every single time I watch this episode. It is amazing.
Lugo running like that, when I see him do it, because he runs and his physique, get wrestling talk here, his physique is very akin to that of the genetic freak Scott Steiner, Big Papa Pup. He's got that same kind of build.
He
so
speaks English as well as Scott Steiner, too.
So more or less, yes. But so while he's just like this, like solid, like a shit house of a man, just like nothing but muscle, he also has zero flexibility. So when he's running, he's just this stiff, rigid statue that runs and does this stiff as a board kind of leap into the crowd to fight. It's incredible.
It's amazing. I love everything about Lugo and Nasir in these scenes. They end up losing the fight, but they make up afterwards, because Lugo goes up to Nasir and is like, you're a little man, but you fight like a fucking giant, and they hug and embrace. So Spartacus's plan is working, and so we see various other fights by a bunch of like no-name gladiators. The two big fights that we see, or I guess the one big fight we see Saxa and Mira fighting a couple of no-name people. Who cares about that? Mira and Navia have a little scene that where Mira confirms that she and Spartacus are no longer together. The big one, though, is Oenomaus and Gannicus versus Crixus and Agron. And at first, At first, Spartacus just says, Agron and Crixus, and they're like, oh shit, we're gonna fucking do it now, because Crixus and Agron fucking hate each other. And so Crixus is like on the right side of the screen, and Agron goes to walk to the left. Maybe I've got those backwards. The point is, they're walking to opposite sides of this fight pit, and Spartacus corrects him. He's like, no.
Take
Both
position.
of you get over here. And then he calls on Onomaus and Gannicus, and so they walk out. And there's this great scene with Onomaus and Spartacus, because Onomaus is like, wine and games to bring us together. This was a clever strategy. And Spartacus says, yes, how about we just keep that going? And so then Spartacus makes this match, and Onomaus is not happy at this, but Onomaus just complimented him, so he can't back out. So Spartacus walks up to Onomaus with this shit-eating smirk, and he blinks twice, and he's like, do what must be done. And Onomaus is like, God damn it, he fucking got me again. And so
Gannicus has a pretty
fight.
great line, too, where Gannicus just kind of looks at Onomaus like, we could easily best them if we fight. He's just not concerned about Crixus at all. This was really stacked against Crixus, because I know Steve's a fan of Agron, but at the same time, Agron was never a champion. Onomaus, Crixus, and Gannicus, they were champions. So Crixus really got the shit stick here. He really did get a bad deal in this fight.
Did. But it wasn't about that. It was
awesome.
about everybody becoming bros again. That's what it's about. I will point out there's a couple things that we're missing about Crixus, which I do think is interesting to his character over the past couple episodes. Like, he has been really training like Navia. Like, Navia has become, like, early on, of course, she had the extreme PTSD from being assaulted constantly and sent to the mines and stuff, and she was like freaked out. But Crixus, like, they have set him up this whole season. He's like, I'm gonna support you no matter what. You don't see Crixus running off for any other girls. You don't see anything. He's like, whatever you need, I'm right here, and he's training the shit out of her for these past time. And now she's like back, because even Mira mentions to Navia, she's like, you're like a completely different person now. And she's like, I feel like I can stand up for myself, and Crixus is like bringing me back, which comes into play next episode. Continue.
Yes. All right. So we've got this fight between Gannicus and Onomaus, and it's them fighting Agron and Crixus, and Onomaus and Gannicus win, and they make it look easy. And they have this. After they win, they kind of look at each other, and like the respect from Onomaus towards Gannicus is slowly coming back.
Gannicus is literally drinking wine during the fight. he goes up to the guy in the middle of the fucking fight. Here, give me this, and just starts chugging wine.
He hands it to somebody, and he tells him not to drink it.
Yes, like when Spartacus calls on Gannicus, he's like, "Hold this, do not fucking drink it." Gannicus is great. Anyways, Onomaus and
he
Gannicus
was also
win.
making out with some random chick too.
Yes, he's having a good time.
Agron and Crixus make up. Crixus goes to Agron and is like, you fought well for preening shit from east of the Rhine, and Agron says, you did as well for a shit-eating Gaul, and they shake hands. They're gonna go drink together.
They shake forearms.
Yes, they do the forearm shake. They're basically like cupping each other's elbows as they shake their arms back and
what's
forth.
really interesting about that is I actually saw, this had to have been when I was in college, because I was a classics minor, so I took a lot of these things. There's actually a study done that said, today everyone shakes hands. That's actually the worst thing you could possibly do, because if you shake another person's hand, their hands have touched everything. There's germs everywhere. And so there's an actual paper written that in ancient Rome, because they didn't want to get germs on themselves so much, that's why they would actually shake forearms, because your forearms don't generally touch as many things to get, potentially sick from. So we should do that nowadays.
Well,
throwing that out there.
When COVID was starting up, weren't they doing that whole let's bump elbows or whatever the fuck that was? You saw people doing let's bump elbows, or no, fist bump for life.
Fist
Penn and
bumps, yeah.
Teller rub asses.
Yes,
Let's
yes.
just bring the forearm shake back, guys.
Steve's right. Rubbing butts. I've rubbed butts with Penn and Teller. Literally, I have pictures of it. So we're gonna rub butts.
Okay, I guess we're rubbing butts from now on. Next time Rachel comes down, that'll be our thing, and she'll be like, "What the hell are you doing?" We're rubbing butts, Rachel.
Yeah, it's more sanitary than touching hands.
Everybody brings in like Ninja Turtles, like smashing with each other, smashing people with their shells. Like we're doing that. We're all backing it up in a circle, rubbing asses.
Yes.
Anyways, the games are successful. So Spartacus has united all of the people. We go back to the Ludus, and Glaber's pissed. He's gonna lose everything. Sepia goes to comfort him, and as Sepia is going to comfort air quotes Glaber, Xena and Alithia meet up and like, is she gonna fucking do it? Like, oh, she's gonna fucking do it. And Xena's like, are you sure you want this to happen, Alithia? And Alithia's like, fuck yeah. Do you think Alithia is all on board with Sepia killing Glaber? But that's not what happens. Like, Glaber and Sepia are together. Glaber
going full Crixus, fully nude here.
Full nude. The Glaber dick just flopping around. So Sepia shows up, and Glaber thinks he's about to get some action, but Sepia calls him out on killing Sepius, smashes him in the head with a jug of wine, and while he's on the ground, Sepia pulls out the dagger and goes to stab him. But then Alithia comes from behind her, grabs the dagger, stabs Sepia in the heart, and then cuts her throat. And so Sepia is dead, and this her neck blood is just money-shotting Glaber. Like, Glaber is covered with blood. And so Glaber and Alithia talk, and Glaber's like, I turned away from you. Why are you here? And Alithia tells him, like, what's her line? It's like, we are both monsters. Let's be monsters together. Basically.
Oh, that's why the episode's called Monsters.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So Alithia pleads her case to Glaber. Glaber and Alithia reconcile. They're not together because they love each other. They're together because they both recognize that they're both shitty people, and no one will ever be a match for them but one another. And so then they fuck while covered in sepia blood, and so Glaber and Alithia are back together.
Well, this is actually kind of a cool moment, real quick, because Alithia actually says, she's like, you know what? Let's fucking take down all the people above us, like everybody in Rome. And for a moment there, you're like, God, are they going to be in the third season? And are we going to see like Alithia and Glaber fucking up like the Roman Senate and shit like that? Doesn't happen, but that would have been kind of a cool spin-off as well, seeing Alithia and Glaber go do some crazy shit in Rome.
Alithia tells Glaber, it's you and me against the world. We have each other now. We're both shitty people, but at least we're shitty together. Let's go fucking get Spartacus, but let's fuck first. Like, I need some dick.
As you do.
So Glaber is like, you know what? Fuck yeah. I'm not gonna let Verenius take over here. I'm gonna go fucking get Spartacus after I give you some dick. And so they
Let us fuck.
And then we go back to the temple where Spartacus is hanging out, and they see Glaber's men coming up. And so the gladiators go and fight Glaber's men, only it's not Glaber, it's Verenius. So Spartacus sends some gladiators out to fight and then retreat, and then when they retreat, Verenius sends his men forward, which leaves Verenius exposed, because Spartacus is like, Roman commanders lead from the back, the coward's position, and so Spartacus, he thinks it's Glaber, but he knows that whoever's in charge is going to be in the rear, and so when the rest of the Roman forces charge ahead to pursue the gladiators, Spartacus and Gannicus, they leap out to attack Verenius, and it's two of them against like a dozen Roman soldiers, and they win easily. So they capture Verenius, and they take him back to the temple. Spartacus is very happy because now we've got all of these Roman weapons, and Crixus wants to kill Verinius. And he wants to kill Verinius to get revenge for Rascos and Redshirt. And Spartacus stops him. It's like, we're not going to kill him until he answers our questions. But then suddenly, like, giant balls of fire begin crashing into the temple. Glaber had his men following slightly behind Verinius, prompted by Alithia supporting Glaber again. And so Glaber's men just start raining fire down onto the temple, and he gives no shits about Verinius. One of the giant fireballs hits Verinius, kills Verinius. Thank you for showing up. Verinius didn't actually do a whole lot in this season, but Glaber is winning. Glaber is absolutely annihilating this temple, and so Spartacus has all of the gladiators and slaves go out through a tunnel. I don't know that we ever mentioned the tunnel, but way back when Spartacus first arrived to the temple, Lucius mentioned that there are tunnels under this place, and Spartacus says, let's have some people dig an escape route. So they use that escape route. They are planning on fleeing through the woods. They're not really going anywhere in particular. They're just trying to run away. But Glaber had people like scouting the woods. He knew that Spartacus, I guess, would have a plan. And so Spartacus comes out of this tunnel, and
that
there's
poor
a bunch
old
more
lady
Roman
that
soldiers.
shows up every once in a while just gets speared through the chest.
Yeah.
When you see her, you're like, oh yeah, it's her!
Yeah, so they're down one old lady, but the rest of the gladiators and slaves, they have nowhere to go but to Vesuvius. And also, several episodes ago, Lucius had mentioned that there is a footpath, and like this is the only path up or down Vesuvius. The gladiators have no choice but to go up to the path. They are going to get to the top of Vesuvius and figure shit out from there. And Glaber's like, well, they made it to Vesuvius. They had the high ground, and we all know about the high ground. So Glaber is smart enough to not attack. And so Glaber says, I'm going to starve them out. Like, there's nothing to eat up on top of Vesuvius. Eventually, they're going to go mad with hunger and try their luck by coming down the mountain. And that's where the episode ends. As of this moment, Glaber seems to have won.
Yeah. This is where the writers say we need a time jump before the last episode. So we're going to starve them out. Just let them up there. This episode's awesome. It's one of the best of the season for sure. I wouldn't call it my absolute favorite. I think that the finale might actually be my favorite, having watched them back to back today. But yeah, this is so cool. It's so good. Yeah, it's like you finally get to see all these cool characters stop fighting with one another and like become friends again. And it's like, okay, now shit's gonna start to get real. I love like all of the crazy scheming that's going on in this episode between all the characters, and what this one did where the last one didn't is the last one just didn't have a ton of like action in it. This really married the action with all the scheming, which is where I think Spartacus, the show, is at its best, when it's got both of those things going simultaneously. So yeah, I loved this episode. Thought it was awesome.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite of the season. For whatever reason, I really like it when the gladiators have just fun. Like, I love the camaraderie. I love them having games, because there's an episode next season where they also host games. And that's also probably my favorite of that season. So I think I just like seeing the gladiators have fun.
You like your heroes to be happy, Steve?
I do. Weird, right?
But all heroes need to be miserable and sad all the time.
Disagree.
Talking a gravelly voice.
Ronan, your thoughts on this episode?
Great episode. Bizarrely enough, Asher finds out that like they put together where this rubbly cottage or whatever it is that they're staying at is. Asher speaks of it as if he's seen it, and that's a part of it that I was like, well, wait, when the fuck did Asher ever see this? Because he's telling Glaber, it's like, if memory serves me correctly, the villa has a tall wall over it, and it's such as like, how the fuck do you know that? When were you ever out there? You've been a slave forever. Like, when were you ever out of Capua? So that was a part that kind of took me out. It's like, how the fuck does he know all of this? Because he can't. He's never been there.
See, I don't question how Asher knows everything. I just assumed he was smart enough to get the information he needed.
And did we mention that Asher, like, yeah, we mentioned that he wants to be a free man, right? Like, he's going to become, like, the head of the Ludus and everything like that. And,
Yes.
like, this whole thing just makes me think, please make House of Asher. Please make House of... Let's start it now, folks. Hashtag House of Asher. Let's tweet or X or whatever Steven tonight and say House of Asher.
Help us out, one listener. Help us out.
Yes.
Hopefully you're better at the tweeting than we are.
But, yeah, and, you know, this sets up, I mean... A glorious finale. I mean, this we won't spoil what exactly happens in the next episode, but
if only we could talk about it tonight.
If only we could, where it's fresh in my mind. Yeah, it's the next episode is just it's crazy. It's one of the most memorable, I think, of all of the Spartacus episodes. And that's the one thing that this show always has. They always knock out the finales. They always stick the landing on their finales, and I think they really stick the landing in this. But that's a tease. You're going to have to come back next Thursday if you want to learn about episode 10, which is, Wrath of the Gods? I think that's what it's called. The finale of Vengeance. So, you guys have anything else you want to say? Any crazy historical facts, Ronan?
I'll save those for the next episode because it's kind of spoilery for people are going to know how this is going to turn out. But I'll give that for the next episode.
Okay, and I'm sure it was actually probably serendipitous that we didn't do the finale today, because the finale, we're probably going to talk quite a bit about the finale. Probably will end up being 2 episodes worth of length time for that. So stick around next Thursday. We'll be back with the finale of Season 2 of Spartacus Vengeance. Are we going all in, fellas?
I just looked at this hand, so we're going to have to do it next hand.
We'll talk for a minute. I'll go all in next hand.
Yeah,
let's hope the audio issues don't keep this episode from making the air. Matt, please, do your due diligence and listen to this before you post it.
Hey, I can hear you guys just fine the entire time on my end.
That's great. Let's hope you recorded us just fine.
Oh, I'm just streaming. That's all I'm doing. I've done nothing different than what I've done every previous episode.
So you're going to listen to this before you post it to make sure that the audio didn't cut out.
Of course, that's what I'm going to do, Steve.
There's a lot of passive aggressiveness there. Are you going to take that kind of abuse from him?
Fucking Agron.
Apparently so.
Hate
Agron is fucking great.
Agron sucks.
Agron is awesome. No, Agron is awesome.
Was Agron even historically one of Spartacus's people? I think it was like Crastus or something. It wasn't even Agron. This can be a little bit of historicalness. The only people whose names were saved, whose names have been recorded in the history that were a part of the Spartacus rebellion, they were all gladiators, with the exception of one slave, Papalopeo or something like that. Yeah, he was one of the best scouts that Spartacus had, but he was also not a gladiator. He was just a slave. The names that I am aware of, so there was Spartacus, his second in command was known to be a Gaul named Crixus. There was a general named Onimus, and another Celt who was a high-ranking one named Ganikai. Which, that's, obviously that's how they got the names for this, because Roman names kind of weird. Because even Batiatus, his name historically is recorded a couple of different ways, like Batiatus, Batius, and Battus. It's weird how the Romans would write their names down. So, but no, as far as I'm aware of, there is no Agron in the record. Yeah, he's a made-up character. He sucks. Stupid.
Agron's awesome, but that was good. You filled in just the right amount of time, because, folks, it's the end of this recording session, and we are going all in blind. and we're probably gonna hate it, but we can't fucking stop.
I mean, we could just push the start button and leave right now.
Nope. Going all in. I've already busted out like twice this hand. Like,
Yeah.
this is how
I've busted
this
out.
is how you guys get my money. You distract me by making.
We're
me do
not
all
getting
the
your
episodes.
money. It's these random fucks who are getting it, not us.
No, you're totally getting it. All right,
Are we
Matt's
are
all
we
in.
Peely
13,000.
squadding after this, or are you guys too tired?
I will fucking Peely Squad. The same 3 people that watch this will watch Peely Squad.
I think that break that we took, that 2-month break, I think YouTube just took us out of whatever algorithm stuff that they did.
You mean the 2-month break that you took?
Oh yeah.
Because I was still hustling. I was still posting shit and editing shit that whole
Well,
time.
you weren't doing enough, Steve.
That's not the point.
You gonna let him
All
cut
right.
your dick off like that, Steve?
Really,
Assault him.
it's just the 3 of us.
Oh God damn it! God,
Oh,
what?
we all have bullshit. We all have
Bullshit.
bullshit.
No,
Okay.
we're
I
the
got a
only
2.
ones who went all in.
Oh,
Come on, give
no.
me an 8.
Oh, fucking 7s and
7,
2s.
2
I got
offsuit.
7s and 2s. Holy shit, I got a full
Jesus.
house. Did I get a full house? We
I
split
think
pot.
so.
We were the only ones who went in. Everyone else
Yeah,
folded.
Lame,
Steve lost, that's all that
lame.
matters.
These pieces
Oh,
of
split
shit.
pot.
Yeah.
Split pot. Woo!
Taking my fucking money, you piece of shit.